on Nigeria's economy with a view to urgently fix things. He has now established an economic advisory committee comprising the federal government, subnationals, and the private sector. This was the outcome of talks between the president and key personnel at the State House, Abuja. President Tinubu says the goal is to provide, quote, additional efforts, end quote, in stabilizing the economy and ensuring the best economic future for Nigerians.
I said many times, the people of this country are only the people we have to please. And we are very much concerned, from students to mothers, fathers, the farmers, the traders, and realizing that every one of us, we have to fetch water from the same well. We are looking for additional efforts that might help the downtrodden Nigerians, and we will provide that hope and the assurance that the economic recovery is on its way.
Well, that's the president speaking there. But joining us in the studio is a former Vice President, Africa Spiegelau, GmbH, Germany, and former President, Nigeria German Business Group, Germany, Joe Femi Dagoro. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. The government has been putting so many measures in place to addressing this matter of the economic hardship and looking at how to cut down inflation as well as cut costs, just to save the economy one way or the other. Aside putting up this economic team together, the tripartite economic team, just yesterday, we see the president saying that there has to be a full implementation of the Orosanye report so that there could be the cutting of the cost of governance. But then a majority of Nigerians have said this is a path we have been before. Former President Goodluck Jonathan tried it, but wasn't successful. Former President Muhammadu Buhari also tried to implement this, but not much was seen. From your perspective, now that the president is saying we need to do this now because there's also the matter of timing, what would you expect the president to do, and how positive are you with this move by the president?
Basically, you have to find out that from the body language of the president, and it seems he's committed to most of all the things he has promised. Despite the fact we might not be seeing everything coming out the way it should be right now. But if you see what he was saying there, one of the things that struck me was this idea of, look, let's give our best, let's do our best. You know, when he's very, he's very subtle over some of these things, and he's very showing confidence that, look, we can do it. You know, so that can do attitude, and it's very, kind of gentle on it to say, look, despite all this, you see his calmness. You see the confidence, exhibiting that confidence, exuding that confidence. That shows the man who is in control. Whether we like it or not, it's because of the situation in this country that we're all feeling aggrieved. Yes, most of us are aggrieved about what's going on. You see, but coming at this time to say, look, we're going to execute, let's give it full implementation, is something good, is something expected. And that is in conjunction, in collaboration with other people who are involved, bringing a team together to say, look, let's get this team now to begin to look into the economic issue. We might say, yes, for how long are we going to wait? We might say we've been here before, but not being here before is not the issue, but where are we going from here? So if we have a direction, a path that we're going from here, and we see the path as a good path, yes, let's move on that path, and let's give him a chance. Because the problem is this: we all know the problem in the country. We all know the problem globally. And you see, when we talk about global inflation, when we talk about global recession and all those things, people say, look, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't concern us. We're talking about Nigeria. So Nigeria has been a problem that people have been trying to say, who is the leader that is going to take us out of this problem? Yes, but we have a leader now who said, look, give me a chance. I want to do it. So we just have to give him a chance to do it. But I see it as a positive move in the positive direction. So we have to continue to look at how positive, how determined a leader is. And when a leader is talking to his people with that passion and is talking with humility. I mean, these are the things you look at in a leader. Is he talking with arrogance? But he's talking with humility. He's talking with passion that, look, I know this and I can do this. Let's do it together. These are some of the things that we encourage people and say, look, yes, let's give that chance. I think that is the message. We have to grab that message first. And when we get that message, we have to begin to look at the people of Nigeria themselves. They have to be committed as well. From the local government level, the councillors have to be committed, the leaders have to be committed. It's not only the president that has to be committed in this case. The councillors, the chairman of the local government, the city council members, and all the states have to be committed.
But they might tell you that there's little or nothing they can do because they do not have that autonomy with some of the things that they could have done. Perhaps their finances, for instance, there's not much they will tell you they can.
Who said? Even if you don't have the economy, but you collect money every month. We spend money every month. You have a budget. So autonomy or no autonomy? Yes, I believe there should be autonomy. But what are you doing with the money collected? What are we doing with the budget? What are you doing to effect those policies that the government has planned? You are with a local government, and the local government is with the state is with the federal. Money comes in every month. There's no doubt about that. So autonomy or no autonomy, I discovered that these people just have to have their plans and to have to move with the plans. So it is not just the autonomy that matters. It's not just the autonomy to say, look, let us get money. Let us know how to spend money. But what are you going to do? You have to be creative. You have to generate your own taxes, or you generate your own revenue, rather. And these are the things. What do you do with the revenue generated? So it's not just going in there as a councillor and just to say, okay, within 4 years, all I need to get is just to get a Toyota Corolla and I'm done. And after 4 years, that's all. We have to be more careful. Taxes are being paid into the local government, and states have to be careful as well. The way they manage the local government is unfortunate that some local governments are not, or LCDAs are not registered by the federal government, and they are not recognized. So that might be another problem that we are facing. That, look, why don't we recognize these LCDAs so that they can have their funds directly, rather than sharing what is there for the local government and sharing it among the LCDAs? So there must be a clear cut on those ones.
Regarding the LCDA, the person that pioneered it is not the president, if I'm correct with the information. Maybe that would expedite recognizing it in the Nigerian constitution. But also, you said it's a good way that the president has recognized has sanctioned the implementation of the Onosai report. Well, they said that it should start from within his own cabinet. Others have called on him to look at what the Australian president, Argentina President Javier Milei did, by slashing his own cabinet from ministers from 18 to 9. So he's got 48 ministers in an asphyxiating economy. So it's better that he also does that in order to save, to save cost of governance. What do you think?
Yes, just like we were saying that the president shouldn't be traveling with the large entourage and say, okay, we are slashing that. Yeah. You see, some of these issues, they are political issues that it's not something that one can just track and say, look, we're going to track that within a few months, because you have to consider the fact that ministers are being appointed based on the states, and their names are submitted, they're being cleared and all that. So we have to begin from that fundamental to say, okay, why must we...
Those portfolios are actually unique.
Yes, why should we have 36 states or, with 70-something ministers or portfolios or 40-something or whatever you want to have. So now, if we can reduce that, constitutionally it has to be. He cannot just say, look, I'm not doing this alone, because this is constitution. So if the constitution is amended to meet the need of the people or the cutting of these portfolios, yes, he has no option. He has to abide by the constitution. But if the constitution allows him, because everything is based on the constitution, if the constitution allows him to have this number of people from each state, and then he has no option. He has to go with the constitution as well. So these are things we have to consider. Yes, we can reduce some of these things. We can reduce some of these portfolios. We can cut off some of them, but then it has to be in line with constitution.
Right. Now, he said that the establishment of this tripartite committee that constitutes the subnationals, the federal government, as well as key stakeholders in business across the country is to bring in concrete, or to fashion out concrete plans for government so as to address this economic situation, the downward trend of the move of the Naira and all of it. What are you expecting from this team? What are those concrete issues you expect them to really, really looking to address this matter from the roots and not just the symptoms, because there are those who have said that efforts that we are making over time with regards to this issue has just been addressing the symptoms and not necessarily tackling it from the root.
You know, you have to understand one thing now, that virtually even a 5-year-old kid understands now what is foreign exchange. He tells you about dollar. So one of the biggest problems we have right now in the country is the foreign exchange, one of the biggest. Then another one is the food security or food insecurity, whichever one you want to call it. Then when you look at all this, you see the cost of transportation. You see so many of these problems facing us. We were told that, you know, buses will be, you know, brought in, but we don't have it yet, you know, and people cannot continue to wait for a long time. These committees, how are they going to look into some of these things? Cost of cement is rising and a lot of all these things. So, and now people are looking at it. These are the same people, these are the manufacturers of cement sitting down there. These are the bankers.
But they agreed to slash the cost of
cement. You know, so now if we have these people sitting down together, maybe it will be easier for us to talk to them and say, look, bring down this thing. You know the cost, you know this. So it might be a good idea to say, let's bring all these people together. But I think looking at the cost and looking at the, you know, solutions to some of this problem, we shouldn't expect the solution to be, you know, rapid or to be immediate. I keep saying we have to be very cautious about some of these things. But the issue of the foreign exchange, the central bank has to do something about it. How do we do something about it? Reducing it. Where do we get the foreign exchange to get all those things together? So it's an issue. Nobody has been able to say, look, this is the complete solution to that. Nobody has been able to say that. And then when you look at some of these problems we're having, it is not a day's problem. It's been a problem that has been there for a long time. But let's see how we can solve it right now. And solving it right now is not a day's problem. A day solution. So we have to be clear about that. But will these people do something? Can they do something? Yes, they are brilliant people. They are businessmen. And I don't think there's a woman there, or businessmen and women should be in this committee. I have to look at that.
Everyone is referred to as a man.
Yes, but I have to look at it carefully, you know, to see whether businessmen and women. But then at the end of the day, I think it is good as well to have, let's say, the common man as part of this. Because, because you see, it is good to have all these business gurus and all these people in the room. But at the end of the day, you still need, you know, a commoner who is maybe an ordinary businessman, call it that way or whatever, who will bring his own impacts into this as well. It is not only, we have to hear from the other side of it. So I think it's a good thing to have this. You need people. And when the president said, look, I welcome other suggestions. I welcome people to give me an advice. That is where I'm seeing humility. That's where I see the can-do attitude. That's where I see somebody who wants to go forward. That I cannot do it alone. I need people, and I need good people to support me to do it. So let's give them a chance within some few. I don't know the time frame and the conditions they were given, but I think every one of us in this country, we have a stake in Nigeria, and we have to play it well.
Talking about those on those sitting in committee, you know, Senator Shehu Sani said he was pessimistic about the nature of people that they have there. He said these were almost the same people that former President Muhammad Buhari brought together to serve in this capacity. So he felt that nothing probably would definitely change because this set of people didn't achieve much more, which we are complaining of today. So what about not looking at it the other way around? Maybe bringing in fresh hands other than those that were used before.
Yes, that's why I said that I would have loved to see some young, brilliant people as well in the team. But then when you look at it, these people, they have their businesses in Nigeria. And their businesses are still running and making profit.
How are they doing it?
It's so hard. So if they are making profit in billions and you say you don't want to see their face, well, you must be making a big mistake. They know how to be making billions, and they are making the billions in this same country. So that is money in Nigeria, that is opportunity in this country. Tell us how you do it, and tell us how we can do it. So that could be an attitude we have. So we can't just say, okay, because their faces have been showing, and we don't want to see their face again, let's bring in the new face. Then the new face will become an old face one day and say, look, you don't want to see their old faces. Let's tap into their experience. Let us appeal to the conscience of the people. It's about the conscience of people. It's about sincerity. It's about the love for this country. Then don't be selfish. If we're not selfish, we can make things happen. We know it's a capitalist world. People want to make profit, no doubt about that, but not the profit on, not thinking about humanity. So we have to be able to see, no businessman thinks about the moral aspect of profit. You want to make profit, or you don't want to make profit. Yes, but these guys are there to make profit, and then they are there to assist the government to look at it the other way around and say, look, this is the best way we can do it. If their best is not good enough, Mr. President, let's give it a shot. So if the best is not good enough, we can still tell them, now, look, you've not done it well. They will have learned from the past as well. If they have been part of Buhari, they have been part of other administration, they will have learned and said, this is what we have done wrong. This is what we can do better. I think that is one thing we have to understand. Yes, every day you go into this consultancy or whatever you do, you begin to look into the past and begin to see the present to determine the future. But the future cannot be determined wholeheartedly or perfectly. You can never do that.
All right. Let's look at the subnationals who are also part of this. There are those who have called them out for some time now, saying that they are not doing enough with regards to addressing this matter of hardship, that the fingers have always been pointed towards the federal government, the presidency saying the federal government is not doing much to addressing this matter, but that the subnationals have to be called to question because they receive allocation regularly, and after the removal of subsidy, there was an increase in the allocation. What are they even doing with these monies? How can Nigerians begin to hold them to account so that the people can feel some level of perhaps a buffer with regards to this issue of the economic hardship now from the subnational level? How do you address that?
That was what I said at the beginning, that look, we have to begin to look at from the local government to the state. Not everything should be pointing out to, we should be pointing our hands to Abuja most of the time and say, look, the federal. The point is this, I think this situation has made some of them to be a little bit more creative now. We have to begin to look at the public health sector. The public health sector is a very crucial one. Most people now cannot buy drugs again. They cannot buy their medications. It's quite, tasking for some people. And some people cannot eat. I was talking to a family yesterday. They said, look, this is not the time for 3 times a day, meals for 3 times a day. If you choose, should be okay. And you drink water to support the rest.
Something that's in the Buhari regime.
Okay, right. You see, so these are the things you are having to feel. And the masses, they feel that, look, these people in government, they're in glass house. They don't feel us. They don't know what we are going through. After all, they don't go to the market to buy things like we will buy. They don't know what is going on. They have everything so good. Yes, it's because the way you see your leaders, the way you see your lawmakers, the way you see your government officials, they ride big cars, they live in big houses, they wear big agbadas and all that. So, but that is because Constitution allows so many things in this country. Unless we begin to review the Constitution allows them to get so much money. The Constitution allows them to drive so much, this kind of a car without even putting a limit to the cost of the car. So unless we begin to review some of these things in the Constitution, but coming back to what you say, if now we are saying that, look, like in Lagos State, they say, look, I'm, slashing 25% out of the transport fees and all. But then they say, how many? The buses are not enough, so we need to get more buses. We need to get the train is working. We are going to, launch a new one, and so I think most of the states now will begin to see if the people begin to ask them more. You have to ask the local government more. You have to ask the people more. But you see, some of our people, once you give them, a bag of rice to share for how many people, they keep quiet for the next 3 months until when they look at it again, oh, I have to go back. So the masses, the people, the citizens, they have to wake up and begin to, ask for, but not waiting until when there's a strike for a day or two. When you strike for a day or two, and at the end of the day, that's the end. You go back, and the hunger continues again. So we have to begin to ask regularly, and there must be a platform for this asking. Where is the platform? Where are you going to ask anybody? How do you go to reach out to anybody? So the people say, look, you said we should ask. What are we going to ask? Do you send a letter to them? Do they read your letter? Do they have an office? So there's a problem. And that problem that is the root cause of some of this problem, because they wait for the next 3 or 4 years. Nobody is asking anything. And then they come back again and say, well, I didn't say you didn't ask. So do you have a place I can ask? And when you say you are doing stakeholders meeting, who are the stakeholders? You just bring in some bunch of people together who are elites of the society again. The common man cannot enter the venue of that stakeholders meeting. So how will he be part of it? And that's why I'm saying that this economic team, we should bring some people who are seen, who will be seen as commoners to protect their interests or to view, to express their view.
Because a majority of these persons may not really feel the pain of the people.
That's it. They don't go into the market. Right. They don't go to see things. They don't take buses. Let the people begin to try to do something. Unlike when you say overseas country, most of the governors, most of the people, government officials, do you think they even take taxes when they go abroad? They take buses, they take trains. Yeah. They manage that money and they come back here with, something good in their purse. So why can't we do that here as well? So we have to begin to do things that people will see us, to feel them and to be part of them.
Well, others believe that the plan to revive the economy might be shaky because, the team, they expect that the team will also tell the president to expedite his action on establishing state police, because without security, no matter what they come out with, if the security situation of the country is not tackled, talk about kidnapping, banditry, insurgency, etc., then definitely it's still going to affect the outcome of whatever initiative they are introducing or bringing on board for the president to implement. What do you think?
When we talk about state police or regional police, whichever way you look at it, what about the funding? Funding will always be a problem. Just like you are establishing 1,001 universities, you are not thinking about the funding. Funding to equip these state policemen and women. I'm not against whatever that will bring good security into. I'm not against all these good things, good ideas, good plans. No. But let's begin to look at the funding. The funding will be an issue. And then what about the corruption?
What do you mean funding?
Funding is, how do you equip them? How do you buy
the state governors get security votes? That's the question that Nigerians have asked. So what can they use that to fund?
Yes, it's a funding. It's not something that you think about. How many people are we going to employ as state policemen in each local government, in each state, in each region? So they've tried it with Amotekun. Amotekun is growing. Why don't we try one thing and focus on that and be good at it? So if Amotekun is doing well in this region, let's, expand it. Let's do something good with it. Let's fund them. Let's give them what training they need. So these are the things we should do. We will start another thing now and we'll begin to complain about them again. And people are already expressing the fear that the governors might misuse them, might mismanage them, and it will be in the hands of wrong people. So we're already having that fear. We want it.
A matter of trust?
Yes. Yes, there's trust in everything. So now you say, in overseas country, these are there. In overseas country, you have data. You have, accurate data of people, where they live, where they stay. When they move from one place to another, you can trace them. So we need to, first of all, have an established data bank of our citizens to know where they are at any given time. Now you have gone so far to say, look, let's use NIN. Let's get our phones registered. Are we having an accurate data bank of that phone registration, that we can trace people through their phones and we can use it for security purposes and not for selfish purposes? So these are the things we have to be, it has to be standardized. When we standardize all these things, we can begin to use the data to say, okay, look, we have a data, we can have 10 policemen to a street or 10 policemen, 20 policemen to a particular location. We don't have that data. And until when we have data, we'll be able to plan accordingly. Let's get the normal things done before we start going. It is not just to rush into this and then begin to say, look, and then we'll continue to correct it along the line. No, life of those people who are going to join the policemen, the police force, their lives are at stake as well. We have to think about that. Policemen and women all over the country, they do good jobs. Not all of them are corrupt. Not all of them are bad. And their lives are at stake. So who funds that? Who ensures their life? Who takes care about it? The equipment. Look at the guns they carry. They need to be, come up with some of these things most times. Look at some of their cars are broken down. And they're supposed to be official cars. So all these things, we have to look at it carefully. And we have to make sure we plan it before we do it. I think Amotekun is a good one. And we can improve on that.
They're not equipped.
That's it. So where's the fund? When some states cannot pay their teachers, they cannot pay the staff salary, and you are telling me you want to start something again?
Probably if we try to move back to, because others also advocated, they gave it as a mandate to the Economic Committee that they should probably advise the president for us to go back to, the issue of restructuring, empowering each federating unit to make sure that they're strong and they have competition, the regional competition, just the way we used to have back in the day. Right. And that probably would help, in resolving some of this matter.
Just like some people are talking about parliamentary, presidential, or whatever. And I said, look, it doesn't matter whether parliamentary or secondary or elementary or whatever you want to do. The point is this. The people are the people who are going to run the system. It is not the system that is bad. It's the people. If the people are bad, the system will be bad. You buy a new car, brand new car. If you don't know how to drive, you're in trouble.
When you say the people, who do you have?
The people, The politicians are going to run the show.
Right.
And then who are the people going to be the politicians? Are we going to say the old politicians should not participate again? Let's have brand new set of people, a brand set of new politicians to come into it. No. So it is the people and it's the conscience of the people. So until we have that people who are having that conscience to know that I'm not going there to steal, I'm not going there to, defraud my country, I'm going there to serve my country, I'm going there to do the right thing, I'm going to do something for my neighbor, for my people. And until when we say a lawmaker is not supposed to be distributing rice, I've said it before, it is not the job of lawmaker to distribute rice or beans or gari. No. But it has come to that stage whereby people are loaded with trailer loads of rice and say, look, I have 2,000 bags of rice. Where do you see that in the world? Where? So let's begin to give the lawmakers the job of lawmaking. And let's give the rice selling to the rice woman who sells rice. Let's let the rice woman be able to get a good price to buy his or her rice and then be able to sell it accordingly in the market. These are the things we should focus on, not focusing on so many of these things. And when you say you have this money allocated to constituency and all that, it should be something different. The government should be able to do it differently. But this is what I'm saying, the structure of what's it called now, the Constitution makes all these things kind of possible, and it's confusing. It's confusing. If you want a university in your local government or in your state, let there be the opportunity for people to say we want a university, and they will look into it accordingly and plant a university there. It's not because you are a senator or because you are a rep, then that is why you must agitate for it. You must get it. No. Is there any university around that area? Is there any university in that? It might be a specialized university. It might be an area of specialty. Let's not continue to just do things because we want to do it or because we want to make a name for ourselves. No, it should be for the people of this country. And that's why I'm saying it's the people that matters. If the people are having the conscience to say, look, I want to serve, yes, the Constitution will be reviewed accordingly, and then things will be added into the Constitution that will make things work. When the governor said, look, we shouldn't be paying these millions or billions to ex-governors. Some states, they said, no, we are not taking it again, we are not paying. And some ex-governors said, look, I won't receive this again.
Right.
So let's begin to do things that will make the people of this country feel belong to this country. We have the oil, and we have to make sure that the oil is being sold for the benefit of the people. It is a gift that belongs to all of us. And let's make sure that we do the right thing.
We have to wrap up this conversation now. We must thank you, former President, Nigeria, German Business Group, Germany, Joe Femi Dagoro, for your time on the program. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Right. Still to come, what does the